Well, hello and welcome, everybody. It's Friday night. We know what that means. Another episode of this godforsaken show. I am here with Alex and Giovanni. How the hell are you, gentlemen?
Doing great.
I'm sick. I'm so sick.
You're sick. He wasn't sick before we started, but he's literally sick to his stomach already. It usually doesn't take that long before somebody breaks, right?
Yeah. One of us had to do it. I volunteered.
Not me today. I've had a psychological break instead. Hello, everybody. Welcome. We are reviewing several products tonight. We are doing Roadhouse, the 2024 Jekyll Gyllenhaal edition. And then we're also doing episodes 5 and 6 of Shogun. With that said, what else have you guys been watching this week besides these entertainment products?
I'll go.
Go ahead.
Hollywood's dead, so I've been watching a lot of anime. Yeah, that's basically it.
Yes.
But a lot of the anime coming out now, I think even you guys would be interested. It's a lot of like detective stuff, like
Batman?
murder mystery shit. Yeah,
Batman?
basically like Batman. But nobody has superpowers. But they got some.
Now they did Batman.
Batman doesn't have superpowers.
He's just really rich and handsome and rugged.
Just got a lot of money and a lot of time.
And cocaine. He's got to, like, nobody can convince me Batman wasn't doing copious amounts of cocaine to get through. Like, just think about it, right? Like, you mean, what, he's stopping at he's beating the shit out of Joker. Joker escapes. He fights 10 thugs. He stops in a fucking gas station for a Red Bull. No, he's little toot. It's in his bat suit, right? In, like, come on, let's be realistic. Batman was a coke fiend.
He's going on he's going on missions with the Justice League heroes, and he pulls out like containers of pre-workout, and they're like, seriously, dude? He's like, it's not what you think. He's rubbing his teeth in it.
I mean, pre-workout might as well be cocaine at this point. Like,
oh my god, yeah.
Here's the thing. Unless you're like a serious athlete and you're seriously pushing your body daily, I don't know how much you need pre-workout, because at a certain point, it's just caffeine. It's caffeine and salt.
It's worse than caffeine. I was because I started working out and I was like doing a little cardio, and I was tired, so I was like, you know what? I'll take the pre-workout I have. No, dude, that was a terrible idea.
He's fucking sprinting on the treadmill with a boner. He's just like, I don't know what's going on. I don't know if I'm happy or sad.
Just pop some fucking speed. It'll be better than.
Well, then you have the psychopaths that dry scoop it.
Oh, right into their mouth. Yeah, those people.
Yeah, and it's just like, that's cocaine. Sean says, "Hello, I'm so happy. It's an incredible movie. Sorry, scratch the show podcast." I want to just warn it. Oh, by the way, the chat is on the screen now. I know we guys asked about it, so now we have the chat on the screen for everybody. Alex, what you been watching? Besides, I know Alex does love his wrestling, and I fell asleep last night to one of those A&E biographies. I woke up to one of the Bret Hart ones, and I woke up thinking, just going, fuck Bret Hart.
No, I watched one movie throughout the week other than what we were doing, and I was watching Whose Line Is It Anyway? The older ones and then the new ones. But I ended up watching Waterworld again.
Oh God, Waterworld.
Yeah.
He's been quoting The Postman all fucking week. It's annoying. And then now he's like, we got to review them, and we got to. And so he wants to not only review these two fucking garbage piles, and it's not me saying that; it's everybody else. You want to know how I know? I think Waterworld is his single worst movie. It killed Dennis Hopper's career. It made no money. Anyways, he wants to review The Postman and Waterworld in the same episode. Staple my nuts to a chair instead.
Yeah,
like I can handle one of those. No, because that's not fair. Because not only like you're getting 2 times the New Year's episode. That's not how this works. You're getting an additional 2 New Year's episodes. Fuck that. Giovanni and I get to 4 hours. Do we each get an episode now?
That's his other one. That's the other one. That's almost 4 hours.
The Postman is close to 3 hours. It's fucking long. No, Sean. Oh wait, I don't know what idea. Because my other idea is if that's the case, then Giovanni and I each get a dedicated episode of shit tier movies we want to show.
It's going to be Guyver 1 and 2. Super easy.
God damn it. No. 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 Oh, no.
Live action Guyver.
With Mark Hamill as like the voice or whatever.
Yeah. He's plays the hero.
I'm going to be honest with you.
Mark Hamill. Yeah.
It's voice... 3 minutes shy of 3 hours.
Yeah, dude, it's long. The Postman's long as fuck. Waterworld's, I think it's like 2.5 or close to it. Dude, we're not doing them in the same day. Like it's one was like no, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing those 2 movies.
Waterworld is 2 hours and 15 minutes.
Yeah, fuck are you, man? You want me to take in 6 hours of shit Costner? You know, that's an entire season of Yellowstone.
You're starting to sound like Lewis when he complained about the Christmas one.
No, mine is justified. No. Here's the problem with Lewis's complaint at that time. He tried to bullshit us off and say it's too much to watch in a week. Meanwhile, he watched 2 3+ hour long movies back to back and was like, that was fun. He just didn't like the Santa Claus show.
He watched the movie twice.
It was Oppenheimer and then Killers of the Flower Moon back to back.
Yeah, he watched them. Yeah.
But he watched Killers of the Flower Moon twice that week.
And that's the problem is it's like don't bullshit me and tell me like come, I'm not an idiot, Biff.
And
like
those,
you know what I mean? Like
almost 4 hours.
Don't try to fucking tell me that like you didn't have time. You just hated it. Like just say you hated it and you don't want to watch stuff you hate. I am saying that. Y'all each get a week to pick 2 big blockbusters that you think. But I mean, I have great taste, so that's not nobody's suffering there. I mean, all right, let's just test run this. Alex, if 2 big blockbusters, what would you think of that you would pick? Because I would almost assume in our like thinking and discussions, we would end up cross-referencing enough times where we could choose movies based on how much the cross-references happen.
I'd have to think about this because
Giovanni, give me it on the fly.
I like so much
Mine
shit.
would be Godzilla -1, and I do want to see. I think it's called Imagination or Friends, the Ryan Reynolds movie where he's in charge of like imaginary friends.
Like out now. Like I think -1.
There's something that you have seen. Right? Something that you have seen.
-1 is out. -1.
Yeah, but something that like is easily to like you know what I mean. Not necessarily current of all time. 2 blockbusters.
There's a horror movie that came out with a teddy bear. What is it called?
The Five
that
Nights
I've been
at
wanting to
Freddy's?
check. No. It's just a single teddy bear.
No.
I saw it in our theater.
Giovanni, blockbusters. Like
it's a
like giant blockbuster movies. Like remember in the 90s, like Armageddon was a blockbuster movie. Con Air was you know what I mean? Like these huge
core.
The core. Like you know, just of all time, not just like I want to watch this week. We'll table it.
Yeah, I have to think about that. Yeah.
Yeah,
it's a difficult one.
3 weeks of movie podcast, and the person picking gets. I mean, even me. I mean, like the problem is like one of them probably would be Terminator 2, and would we do that? Probably not because we've already reviewed it. So like then I'd have to start going down the line of like, okay, Con Air, we've reviewed it. Although I don't know if we reviewed it with Giovanni.
No, I wasn't there. I would love to do Face Off with it.
Face Off's another one that like when I think blockbusters, to me it's a very specific genre almost to the 90s of like a blockbuster was a movie that yes makes a shit ton of money, but it's also that movie that you remember seeing the trailers for. Like remember the trailers for Armageddon? You'd be watching fucking some show, and then fucking meteors hitting L.A. and Bruce Willis, like these big blockbuster movies is what I was then like.
Dude, but in the 90s, they had the trailers and the advertisement were spectacles. They were insane.
And you know what? They
give
somehow
away a lot of the movie.
Yeah, but not more than even nowadays. Like nowadays, you watch if it's a 2-minute long trailer, you know the whole movie.
That's true. Yeah.
I'd say more than Lone Ranger as far as a giant flop I loved. I would say John Carter of Mars.
Three Amigos.
Three Amigos was a flop?
I believe it was.
Wow. That's a shame. Another one I liked, Sergeant Bilko. If you're talking Steve Martin, I love Sergeant Bilko. I think that movie's fucking hilarious. And nobody seems to care about that movie. Like, that's the type of movie where some trucker is at Walmart and he buys a 6 Steve Martin DVD and he's like, I've never watched this one. You know what I mean? Like, nobody cares about that movie. And I think it's fun. But I also like shitty movies, and I admit them. Like, Pauly Shore's You're in the Army Now. Pauly Shore's Biodome. Pretty much every mainstream Pauly Shore movie I enjoy, but it's terrible. I like I think that movie was a terrible flop. I enjoyed it. Another great flop was Cowboys vs. Aliens with Daniel Craig.
So Three Amigos was estimated 25 million. They only made 39 million.
Oh, Jesus.
No Battlefield Earth fans. Alex, wait, Alex.
Guilty pleasure, yeah. I can watch that when it's on. If it's on, I didn't buy it, but if it's on, I'll watch it.
Dude, you have some of the worst tastes of all
time.
It's
funny.
For me, it's Stargate.
Stargate's not that bad.
I do like the original
Battlefield Earth
Stargate.
is legitimately like I'll watch. Even I will admit, after we reviewed Stargate, I don't hate it as much as I did when I was a kid. But when I did it as a kid, it was a little boring, I think, for my tastes. And as you get older, you realize how much action's actually in there. I was a Schwarzenegger kid. I wanted shit blowing up every 2.5 fucking minutes. You know what I mean? No, Sean, just because you two freaks like Battlefield Earth doesn't make it a good movie. All right? L. Ron Hubbard is a bastard. And that whole movie's about his bullshit. All of it. It's all a Scientologist fucking goofball movie. They were all sucking adrenochrome out of children's spines writing it. Alex's pick Postman. Alex isn't going to get that fucking pick. I'm not doing that fucking episode. That can be the next New Year's. We'll do a New Year's fucking trilogy.
Sean really wants a Battlefield Earth for some reason, huh?
Because he wants us to suffer. It's like when people want us to play Call of Duty. It's only because they want to see us fucking suffer.
That's true. It's true.
Earthbound confirmed that today. It's enjoyable because we suffer. Can you
we didn't get any
that?
wins today, but it wasn't that bad. It wasn't a bad.
Yeah, we didn't do that badly, to be honest with you. I haven't been watching shit. I've been restless all week in the mind. So like I watched some Top Gear. We watched obviously Shogun. We watched Roadhouse last week because I wanted to watch it. We'll go into that movie. You want to do that first or Shogun first?
We'll do Shogun first.
Yeah, probably Shogun first.
Shogun? Yeah, we'll go into Roadhouse. Overall, I really didn't hate Roadhouse, but there's problems with it, in my opinion, and we'll go into those a little bit. I got to give Conor McGregor a little bit of credit, though. I was watching some of the behind the scenes, and he was pretty integral in planning those fights. Like, yeah, they were choreographed, but he was also kind of like, you're gonna hit me in the face, and I'm gonna, and he was kind of like showing him. And that's how they choreographed it, which I like, because at least there was no ego there. It was a job he was doing. So, like, I kind of still think in the wrestling terms of, like, in my mind, Conor McGregor's on set going, you're not going to fucking hit me. But instead he's like, you swing, and then I kick, and you know what I mean? And, like, so I do have a certain level of respect. There's problems with his character I'll go into later, but, like, I at least respect the guy for his performance, even though it was a bit... So
he's a professional, you're saying?
At least in this
just
realm,
has a big mouth.
Well, that's how he made his money.
Yeah, he's just got a big mouth.
He wouldn't be Conor McGregor if he didn't go, who the fuck is that guy? And at the time, if he didn't have the skill to back it up, like, it's easy to trash him now. And by the way, he is scheduled to fight in June, but it's easy to trash him because the last couple fights have been bad. He's on a bad streak. He broke his leg that time. There's steroid rumors. But everybody, just like Ronda Rousey, everybody likes to pretend that Ronda Rousey isn't a legitimate badass that helped create the women's division of UFC to what it is today. Everybody wants to pretend that because Conor McGregor is where he is now, he didn't help make UFC the most popular fucking sport. There's a reason he made all that money, because he was worth it at the time for these promoters. So like, I hate, like, you can dog what he is now. You can dog the fact that for this movie he was definitely on fucking roids. He's probably off him now for training and whatnot. That's probably why shit kept getting delayed, let's be honest. But you can't take away what the guy gave the fucking sport. And what he gave the sport was giant fan interest, to where the UFC is like the biggest fucking actual sport out there now.
But I think it's because like Ronda Rousey and Conor, because they went from fighting to Hollywood or entertainment, they get shit. But like, if you think of any fighter who got big, they faded into obscurity.
Well, the biggest problem I have with things like a Ronda Rousey going into the WWE is you have all of these actors, because that's what they are. Sure, they're stuntmen actors, but they're actors in a ring. You know, you got Becky Lynch telling her she's gonna give her a beating, and it's like, no, in reality, it doesn't matter what you've done in your career. She is legitimate, and she would fuck you up.
Oh yeah,
it's the same problem I had with CM Punk recently, talking about how who was it? Undertaker didn't, or Stone Cold, or no, The Rock didn't want to meet the boxing or Hands of God boxing CM Punk, and it's like, you can't say that because everybody saw you get mauled by a nobody named Mickey Gall in the UFC. So you stay away from that. Like, talk about what you've done in your wrestling career, but you cannot approach this real life tough guy shit, especially in the same episode when you got The Rock saying the F word and beating Cody until he's bloody.
Did you see when it went off air?
I did. Yeah, yeah. I don't give a fuck about yours. You know what? I have been a little bit negative on this whole Rock thing. I will say this kind of unhinged sort of like, fuck you and fuck everything sort of The Rock. I think the purpose of it is stupid, which is the tribal bullshit. But his performance is cool. Like, I've been watching a lot of clips.
Well,
like he's doing a good job in the role.
But they're supposed to be PG, and there's a big thing that TKO was saying. No, WWE has to stay PG because we want to be everywhere. And here's The Rock fucking saying fuck on TV.
Well, but you know, that's actually really smart. Think about it in the storyline perspective. The Rock is Vince McMahon meets Stone Cold at this point because A, he's on the board, so he's got power. B, so that's when, I guarantee you, if he's going in this in the long haul, at some point, it's going to become sort of a Vince McMahon role. If I'm making the decisions, you know, and then that becomes part of it. So, like, this also might be a response to the pushback to AEW's more adult level content of, like, AEW is not afraid every week to go out there. They're getting pressed because glass is shattering in people's fucking faces on the sidelines. We got to step it up. And maybe The Rock has smartly said, you know, and maybe the idea to The Rock is, my fans were in their teens and early 20s when they were my fans. These are 40, 45-year-old people at this point. They're not kids anymore. That's not who I'm appealing to. The people who want to see the heel Rock are people who are the demographics probably 32 to 45 or 50. Let's be real. So in that case, it would make sense for The Rock to be a not PG character of just like, no, my fans are adult. They're old. You know, do what you want to do in the early hours of Raw. This is The Rock segment. And I respect it. I'm just not a big fan of this, like, The Rock is on the board and then now he's going for gold. But I also am starting to wonder if that's all just storyline of this whole Rock wanting a championship run is going to end up being a gotcha. He was never going for championship. I'm hoping. We'll see. Does WWE want 20 to 40-year-old fans, 18 or younger, they have to pick? Well, I think you can have both demographics in your show. I don't think there's anything...
Especially with a 3-hour show.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong with having your more colorful, fun entertainment up front. And then maybe the final hour, you got The Rock beating the shit out of Cody till he's bloody, cursing, and bleep it out.
Because that's how they used to do it when it was fun to watch back then.
Yeah, and like that's the thing is like it's also bleep it out, right? Like you can Like, it's live, but you mean to tell me there's a dump switch? There's got to be something you can do, or all the shit's pre-recorded anyway. Well, it's all the backstage shit's all pre-recorded anyway.
That was all pre-recorded, yeah, because they were censoring it before he even said the word fuck.
Yeah. So like that's the thing is like I don't think it's a bad decision at all. I think you, especially if you're talking about bringing back characters of the past as big as The Rock, you have to give them more of a mature swing, and he's doing a great job with it. I've seen a lot of clips of him, and I don't like the concept of like I'm the head of the table and Roman Reigns is like yes papa type shit, but I think that's cringy and stupid. But we'll see where it plays out. It could set up, it's just they're doing a really good job of dividing fans, which I guess is exactly what they're going for.
Well, I feel like when The Rock was a heel before too, it was the same thing. He did a really good job at.
Yeah, he's like ultra heel this time. Like, because even like I do appreciate the fact that he's going beyond that. You got to give it to Cody as well.
He's calling himself the final boss now. Yeah.
Even his new intro with the lightning and the LEDs is cool looking. Like he's definitely pumped it up to a degree where it seems like his heart's really back in it, which is what you want to see, right? Like the problem with The Rock is he's technically a part-timer, and at least if you're seeing a real passion and he's doing a lot of work in it, which he is right now. I mean, you could ask, is that because your acting career is on a downswing? I haven't seen many Rock movies lately.
Mm-hmm. So, he was doing TV too, so.
So we'll see. You got to remember, he didn't come back to wrestling till the writer's strike was going on. Seems a bit suspicious to me. With that said, we'll see how it plays out. But on to what we're doing here. Let's start off with Shogun. We are doing episode 5 and 6, and episode 5 has a couple big pivotal moments in it, but it's
broken to the fist.
It's a slow episode. You guys want to take the lead on it?
But if you're keeping up with us, remember this is spoilers. So if you're watching,
we have to spoil it, guys. There's no other way to discuss these things truly.
Yeah, you start to learn that Mariko's character is exactly the main character, but opposite. Like she is from the Japan side coming in, and he's from the English side coming in.
She's even worse in a way because his character is a pirate who's there for riches and glory, and her character is there with someone who's only there for revenge.
Yep, and it's crazy that her husband is still alive.
Mariko's.
I don't like him, but give him a badass award.
Yeah,
right?
like I can't be mad when I saw him. I was like, holy shit!
Like I wanted him dead, but you know what, buddy? Good for you. This is Sean. Full spoiler alerts.
Mariko is not so much there for revenge. She is there. She's there because she is being forced. She wants to go. She wants to die.
No, but
part of their honor. That's part of their culture.
But it's not just that though. She talks about why she's still there and why she just didn't disappear, and it's to carry out the mission to avenge her father. Like she's there for revenge. Like yes, the other things may be binding her, but when she thinks her husband's dead, she talks about like at this point I need to finish my mission because that's the only reason I'm still here.
That's true. Yeah, you get that early on. That once her husband, because she's later on, you figure out that the one thing she wanted to do was commit seppuku, which is part of their culture. Mm-hmm. But her husband forbid her from dying, so the only thing she had left was the revenge. Well, and when he died, she's like, okay, I can pursue the revenge.
Do you guys want to just cross through the episodes or do them one by one?
It's going to be tough because we're going to be going back and forth because there's stuff that
I figure you have to, because the way they broke these two episodes
very intertwined.
They're so intertwined.
So if we're going in between them, like the fact when it's weird how even her husband has a conversation with Toranaga, and he's like, she's cold, she's never melted. Like I saved her from death, and she's never melted in all these years. And her story.
And with also, engine, she melts. Like that's what he said.
Well, her story also almost directly mirrors the Mother of the Heirs story in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Or Chiba or whatever name, or Chiba.
Yeah, dude, I could barely remember American names. Fucking any of these, like Uncle is the one guy who is Tim Allen of Japan. Who?
Omi.
Even though I know he's a coward, I still love his character.
Dude,
I
it's
love
just
him in
he
the show.
legitimately is the Tim the Toolman Taylor with the noises he makes, where it's just like, whoa, no, and it's like, okay, okay, calm down. And then still the one line of his that makes me laugh is right after Toranaga's son kills the guys with the cannons. He's like, "You're making an egregious error." Just the it's just like, why would you shout that of all things? Like, no, don't do it.
I love when he's talking to the Toranaga, and he's like, I don't know who did it. He's like, you don't. He's like, listen, it was my nephew. Okay, I don't know. I was like,
it's like something out of the past. It's almost like what's in a comedy movie in the '90s. The level of timing with it. Like, okay, anyways, it was my nephew. Like, what the fuck?
But getting back to Mariko's husband, I'm surprised he saved her, knowing that her coldness would last, because it sounds like he knew she was this type of person. And what blew my mind was in that conversation, like he's like, I let her live, and almost like he asked himself, why did I let her live? Like, what was the point?
Well, that's kind of the weird thing in the culture that's presented here, isn't it? Where they're direct property, so it's almost like you would think that maybe he has some level of emotion for her, but then it always kind of seems like it's pulled back to like, why is my property not loving me? It's weird.
Yeah.
You also find out why she was chosen to marry him, because Toranaga says your dad knew like what he did, you would still be with him. Like, he's not going to kill you if something happens. Like, so he made it known to her that her dad chose him for the right, for that reason.
Sean says, by the way, how in the world can anyone do that to their own family? What's he to gain? The daughter got sold as a sex slave. Well,
I agree. Yeah, that was like, what?
Yeah, I mean, the thing about the sex slave thing is it's married off technically in the culture, right? So it's like, it's either that or... And then you've got a couple storylines going on there. In episode 5, the guy who talks like this learns a very harsh lesson to what his words mean in this society.
Dude, yeah.
But
he gets an honor lesson real
Here's
quick.
The thing, they do it pretty...
Over a fucking pheasant.
Well, yes and no, but it's not. See, that's the...
No, I know, but that's what starts it.
Yeah, and so he catches a pheasant. He wants to treat them to food from the homeland. For some reason, he's got to leave it out to rot, and he says it's fermenting for a week. And the whole village at one point is basically begging him in Japanese to throw the thing into the fucking water, essentially.
What's crazy is that they everybody wants it out. But what he doesn't understand is that his word is power. You are the leader of this home. Your word is power. And the gardener that he has a moment with is the person he kills. Yeah. But if you listen, the gardener technically volunteered.
Yes.
He's like, I'm the oldest. And then Mariko tries to tell him, you don't understand. He was close to death. He was old. He wasn't contributing to anybody, and he wanted to go the way he wanted to go.
Here's my theory of how that went down, though. And I don't know if you guys thought of it this way.
And he was useful after that.
But see, I don't think it was an afterthought. I think that part of the show is trying to tell you every action that these people do has a greater consequence, and they're aware of it. And I don't think... I think, sure, he touched that. But when it came down to dishonor... And Toranaga said, no, or the guy that needed to find the spy.
The spy, yeah.
Goes, if you do this, you will be saving me, blah, blah, blah. I like to look at that was the whole time he knew that it wasn't just about him touching the pheasant. It was about him saving the spy. Just as much, you know what I mean?
Because Toranaga tells him, you got to find me a spy. Because he knew that guy was the spy, but he's like, you need to find me a spy. So he could tell them.
It was supposed to be aged pheasant. Well, that's the barbarian for you. But then he has that at the end of the episode, he's kind of got this get me the fuck out of here. These people don't value life. And I think, at least at this point, there is some truth to that. Like, they value honor far above life.
Yeah. Their culture and their honor is what matters more. And Mariko tells him, you have no control over nothing. Like, you
not,
live, you die, that's it.
Well, she even flatlines him that, like, make no mistake, you're still a prisoner. Like, you may have a nice, and even he comes to that sort of conclusion of, like, I've got better quarters. I like his character a lot. I think the end of the episode where they do kill the gardener And also, the earthquake is a big thing where
Yeah.
Toranaga builds up this giant army that gets all but wiped out from this earthquake that almost kills Toranaga. Once again, the Anjin saves his fucking life, gives him, and that's one of the funniest parts of the episode to me, is we find out earlier that these swords that his Khorasan gave him are just junk. That they gave to her and lied to her that they were family lineage. So he thinks he's bestowing a true gift, but everybody else seems to know the real story on the swords. And even then, it's still kind of like, no, it's honor. I understand. And he saves Toranaga again.
Not only that, I think he presented those swords specifically because I think he understands the aspect of like, my Corsan's white husband or father was a scoundrel. He was a cheat, a lie. He begged for his life. I think he understood if I present these to Toranaga, that will bring that
elevate
back.
It'll elevate her, her honor.
Well, that's the other idea is like, you got to remember, she told him, I can't be a servant of somebody who doesn't have swords. So to him, we can't have our leader not have swords. Like, fuck me, who am I? You need to have swords. And he at least understands that's a giant part of the culture. Which I do appreciate how he's slowly starting to understand. He's also really starting to outrank some motherfuckers by episode 6.
Episode 6,
quick.
Not only does he's got land, which comes with a salary per year. He's the general of the cannon army, and he gets a nice night at the brothel.
Yeah,
dude, the lady he spends the night with, we see her before.
That's Omi. That's the young Omi.
Sneaky. Yeah, she is sneaky as fuck.
She's the one that started the whole thing. She's the one that started the whole thing.
There's gonna be an episode where she's gonna come out and just fucking like sweep them.
Well, you got to remember though, because by the end of the episode, you see her in the daytime, and the guy that she's been fucking, who's in love with her, sees her like, what the fuck?
And it's like the nephew. Yeah.
My wife's exact quote was, "Well, what do you expect, fucking a whore?" Like that. She was, and it's like, it was like, damn, dude, that's gonna cause some ripples.
But she's doing this where she's trying to sleep her way to the top, because she even says, if you become this, I can elevate myself too, because she says that I'm the best at what I'm doing now, and I can move on.
She's very much like Cersei's in season 1 of Game of
Thrones. Yeah, she's sneaky. I'm excited to see what her character does next.
I mean, but here's the thing: she may get herself killed by the nephew, like who's just
when they find out
jealousy.
Also, if somebody finds out and they tell him, "Hey, you got to take care of this. This is your problem."
Well, exactly. Like, is he going to have to slay her because he has been giving her too much? They find out what he's been telling her. Like, Toranaga's going to snuff the bullshit out eventually. So what happens when that day of reckoning comes?
Because she's originally the one that went in his ear, that gave him the idea to go into the son's ear to fucking blow up the people with the cannons. It was all because she started that shit. So
well, she's also been in his ear to go against Uncle and push Uncle into Ishido's corner. Yep. Speaking of Ishido, so Asaka has been taken over by the heir's mother. Which, how does she have any power? Is it just because the council's allowing it, type thing?
I don't know.
Because who her son belongs to, and because he's too young, and technically they're a council. There's no real ruler. I mean, I think because of her status, she has more power than them to begin with. But dude, she's a bitch.
So Keiji says you think she doesn't talk to Toranaga. Exactly. Like, who is she reporting to? Is the question. Because Toranaga knew exactly that it was his son who orchestrated the cannon attack. How did he know that? Is he using her to plant seeds? Remember, Mariko, when they go into the whorehouse, tells him, watch your actions. We're being observed. Is she the one observing them?
And also, Toranaga had that conversation with the uncle where he tells him, your nephew did a smart thing.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing is,
but then he takes it away.
But Toranaga's a smart dude, because you get he asked the husband and Marika separately, what the fuck's going on? And then to her directly, what's going on with you and the barbarian?
Yeah.
And so he knows there's something up there. And that's why she's trying to be on her toes. But like, then there's the conversation they have about her past. and he clarifies some shit for her. One of you guys remember that? Go ahead. I talked a lot. Alex, what do you guys say about that scene?
Which one was it? The
where he
about her father?
Yeah, and what his actual
supposed to, yeah. She's supposed to avenge. She's supposed to continue the fight for her father and rule the way he wanted it to be. So he's telling her that you know, even though you know what's happening to you, he's like, you were supposed to be there. Well, you were supposed to fall to come back up to make it that way.
But when he says it to her, it's almost like you had to have known what the plan was. Like, how could you have not?
Why? Yeah, you had to have known why he sent you to marry him. You know, why you were betrothed to him.
You had to have known that he talked about he wished you were a son so you could rule everything because of how fucking strong you are. And then it's like, it dawns on her like, holy fuck, this was my father's plan to bring me back to avenge. And then she's like, I failed him. And he's like, no, your war is not over.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, that was the coolest. I love him, dude. He's I fucking love Toranaga.
So
and then we also hear the term Crimson Sky in this episode too.
Crimson Sky. Dude, I don't like dubbing. Like, why can't they just say some of the words? Like, you know how badass that would sound in some angry Japanese dude's voice? Come on.
You know.
He had her keeping notes too. Yeah.
Yeah. And then, so Toranaga's also already taken a lot of liberties when it comes to the Barbarian. First off, how many people do you think have ever gone to Toranaga and told him to attack a friendly nation?
Probably none.
And walked out of the fucking room.
Yeah, that's true.
And he tells him straight up, give me my boat, let me sail on your behalf and destroy the Portuguese. And, they're going to, and it feels like every time Anjin tells him, like, they're going to be coming for you next, not necessarily that he's getting the hint, but he's listening. Like, he isn't just ignoring it. Like, he's taking it in, and it's kind of like, we're not going to talk about this anymore. Because you got to wonder if there's a suspicion. You got to wonder if in his mind, there's already, like, why do they... Because he's already suspicious of him, because he's got to know why they hate him so much. They still...
Well, there's also when the barbarian tells him about the Christians, he's like, let me kill the Portuguese. They're not here. They're not your friends. Mm-hmm. And then it goes back to the council. They're battling it out, and it's the Christian who's always that older guy. He's like, no, I'm pulling out, but it's starting to get with him because in their last disagreement, he went to his family and like, yo, we got to get the fuck out of here. Like, you need to get up. Yeah, I was like, holy shit.
They were killed on the road by bandits, quote unquote, according to Ishido. And if you watch it, we all know it was Ishido, and he murdered. That's one less council member. They can vote in whoever the fuck
wasn't he also the spy? Wasn't he also the spy for Toranaga?
No.
I thought he was the spy.
No, he was more of a neutral. He even tells him, I'm the only one here serving the realm. He was more of a neutral party.
Yeah. It was him and Toranaga who
Sean's right. He did have that line.
True.
He did say time to write a new will. That's right.
Uncle.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, he wasn't a spy. He was like a true council member serving the people instead of that's why he tells them, like, I'm the only one serving the realm. Like, you basically tell him you guys are just serving yourselves.
Oh, no. The spy was the one that showed up on the horse.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the spy was the one at the end of episode 5 that is like, hey, we found your spy, and he gives him the proof of it being the gardener.
Yeah.
Let's see. I really don't like the Era of the Mother. Her storyline is whatever. I hope the council gets wiped out. And the end of the episode 6 really does end with Toranaga essentially saying it's Crimson Sky. And Crimson Sky is a plan to bum rush Osaka and take it over by force in one fatal swoop. And I believe the whole concept that the Anjin brought to him is, with my ship, we can do just that.
Mm-hmm.
But if they are successful in this, he becomes the Shogun. And he wanted to avoid that, which I don't know, did he really want to avoid it? Because
not with playing all these games.
Yeah.
Like, he knew the consequences. Yeah. He had to understand no matter what happens, he's going to be ordered to kill himself or be killed.
He's also fighting. I think his men are behind him, and it's getting crazy because he even tells his men at the end of that episode, he's like, I'm not doing this for honor. He's like, this is escalated to a point where this is where we need to be now. And I think that's why they're following him, because they realize, and I think that's why Shoguns are so dangerous, because rather than fight for honor, rather than fight for progression, they just fight to a means for an end.
Well, I mean, look at what one of these guys can do, even though you hate them, which is her husband.
Dude, the arrow thing. Are you talking about the arrow?
Yeah, right. The scene with and that was one thing that I found interesting. We kind of glossed over. There's a scene where the husband and Mariko or husband's ordered to live with Mariko and the Anjin because Mariko's ordered to live with her because she's his translator, and they start drinking, and he gets drunk, and he proves he's horribly drunk but can still fire an arrow to a T, but it uses Mariko as the
he says that he's more accurate with his arrow than he is with his cannon, and then he proves it to him.
The big problem that happens is later on you hear the husband slapping Mariko around. Yeah. And basically, because of their system, you're on the Anjin's property and you now just have dishonored him. Mm-hmm. So there's that scene where basically the only thing the barbarian can understand is suki. Because he's trying to say, I've had too much sake, and the barbarian's just like, sake! And he's just like fucking angry. And it's an interesting scene how you have the Anjin gaining so much rank that here her husband is living with him, hates him, has hated him from the beginning, but because of his own actions now is forced to bow and apologize to this barbarian. It's a crazy system, and I don't think anybody really likes it. As far like his Coruscant doesn't like it, the husband clearly doesn't like it. These guys look at him like, oh, what the fuck next is he gonna get? You know what I mean?
But it's crazy because it also brings Mariko's point back around where she's like, your words have power. You have been given this honor. That honor carries something whether you like it or not. And it's crazy to see that play out between him and Mariko's husband.
Yeah, and I mean, he does have a point in things of he's just like, why couldn't you just talk to me? And it's like, well, you guys can't talk is the problem. Like, they did ask you, and you just didn't understand. Like, and you were busy because you're going through bullshit with Mariko and everything else. So it's like, it's your fault. And I think he fully understands that too. I think in that moment realizes the gravity of everything these people are doing in a certain way that he hadn't before. Where it's like that. And he also probably misses the idea that, yeah, that guy died technically because of him, but that guy died for a greater cause even beyond him, which is to protect the spy.
Yeah, and he doesn't know that that's what it is because that's not told to him.
Exactly. Toranaga notices the fact that it's more than just her translating during those scenes.
Oh,
he's
kind
of like,
what
why are you fucking arguing with him? Like, you're just supposed to be translating. He's got sort of like, what the fuck's going on between you two? And he knows something's up. He doesn't know they banged yet or pillowed. But by the way, I was thinking, is that where pillow talk comes from?
I think so.
When they're pillowing, they may say something that gives away strategic whatever. That's why they turn into whores. I thought about that while watching the episode, and I felt like a stoner. It was one of those, like, you ever see those memes where it's just... Well, no, it's like those memes where it's a stone dude, and he's just like, was pillow talk invented because as they pillow, they say things about
that's
war?
why, like... Yeah, that's why, like, in Japanese culture, all the way... Like, you hear it in medieval culture, too. I think Roman culture, too. Like, people who work at the brothel were very counted upon because they heard everything.
Well, I mean, I think Game of Thrones demonstrates that. KG says yes. So
what's
Game of
his name?
Thrones' finger is a big demonstration of like the
little finger, and what's his name?
The horrors have a surprising amount of power because they hold all the secrets. All right, are we just giving thumbs up, thumbs down on these episodes? I don't remember what we're doing.
I think thumbs because I think we're going to review it as a whole. By the end.
Yeah, obviously, this show just keeps getting better and better. For me.
One thing we didn't talk about, though, in episode 6, though, was the amount of people that were being beheaded with the past.
Yeah, in the beginning. Yeah. That was when they wiped out her village. Yeah.
And that's when they, when she found out, like, what was going on, she saw, like, the guys being beheaded. Mariko did. Yeah,
this show, every episode just leaves me wanting more, too. Like, it's getting better and better. The end shot of episode 6 where they... Just the zoom out, and you have all these soldiers chanting, ready to go to fucking battle. And
you see more people just filing in. Yeah.
It's definitely shaping. It's going to be an epic finale for sure. It's every week. I wish they would have released this son of a bitch all at once. Speaking of shit being released all at once, April 19th, we're going to be reviewing the Fallout first season series. and that was supposed to be Nobunaga. We're gonna be doing the first season of Fallout, all 8 episodes, the 19th. It is releasing the 11th. If you guys would like to join as a panelist, you don't have to be on camera. We're going to be doing voices only for the panelists, but we're going to be reviewing the entire season. So it's 8 episodes long. At this point, it's got a 50-50 shot to be good or shit, to be completely honest with you, from what I've seen, read, and everything. So there's potential for me hating it. There's potential for me loving it. I'll probably be somewhere in between. We'll see how progressive the writing is. We'll go from there. We'll have to get into it before we have to see what it's about, and then we're going to review it. So if you guys want to join, hit the Discord up and let us know. Sorry, go on. I cut you off, Giovanni.
Oh no, I will say that I agree with you. The show's getting better and better. The time jumps are beautifully timed. Mm-hmm. They are understandable, and when you get through the episode, the way everything is just coming together is really well done.
Yeah. The time jumps flow together. It actually means something when it happens. Where other shows do that kind of shit, and it's like they go to something else that has nothing to do with what was just.
The past scenes from Mariko are I like how they also accent the similarities between her and the mother's heir story, and that's how they kind of use them, where they show Mariko's, which we've already talked about and kind of gotten into in the show, but they show hers. And how it kind of closely resembles the mother's. They're kind of almost on the same mission, but different people.
Yeah.
It's sort of a weird aspect there.
And I know if you're not into subtitles, do yourself a favor and do the subtitles. Yeah. There's something about the stresses in Japanese language that just really bring emotion to everything they say.
Let's also be real. If you're watching the dubbed, and if you do have a legitimate hard time like keeping up with the reading and stuff, I understand that. But, like, if you're watching it dubbed, it's probably because you want to be on your phone. And I would make the argument it's healthy for you to get off your fucking phone for an hour and focus on something else. The camera work is also awesome. The arrow scene was incredible. It really was. I hated the content of the scene, but I loved how it was shot. I mean, even the scene where, her husband is begging for forgiveness due to being too drunk with the rain coming down and the light. It's still, then he puts... when after the earthquake, when he's putting the rocks back in the way the gardener had them, there's a lot of very well shot, powerful scenes in this show. There's a lot of scenes where the actions kind of give you the emotion and everything more so than any of the dialogue does. So far for me, it's an incredible show. I look forward to it every week. I really do.
Me too. Yeah.
All right, let's go on to the next thing. Which is Roadhouse. And Roadhouse 2024, not the Patrick Sweaty version. Where do I start with this?
That one?
Where do I start with this one? So
Post Malone.
Where do you start with this?
Okay, Post Malone. Well, and it was fat Post Malone too. That just shows you how long ago it was filmed. Because it was when he was still chubby Post Malone.
Yeah.
All right. I'm not even going to waste time comparing this to the Patrick Swayze version. The only thing that it has in common with that movie is the title.
The coffee.
Yeah, they changed. Dude, they changed. Oh my God. It is not what I thought it was going to be. It's like, let's just use, it's what the Halo show did to Halo. Let's just use the name and come up with something.
Yeah, I mean, the loose concepts there of like, rugged tough guy who's working in a bar, works at, goes to a place that's getting destroyed by local culture and needs a bouncer to establish something. I think the original does better job of establishing Swayze teaching the other guys on how to be a bouncer.
Yes.
I think this one just kind of is like he watches them and it's like, good job, he as he sips his coffee.
Like when he tells the one guy to take on a guy who has a knife, how do you know he can fight?
And that guy looked like he was fucking 18 years old too. It's like, what? Like, how's this guy even a bouncer at a bar or a bartender?
Posty needed a cigarette and a Bud Light. Yeah, he looked like shit. And then like that whole scene where it's Post Malone's just terrified of him. And I'm gonna ruin it. Spoiler alerts, guys. The whole thing is Jake Gyllenhaal killed a friend in a UFC fight because he wouldn't stop hitting him, and he lost control. So the whole movie is sort of. They try to mimic that concept with Swayze where, hey, did you hear that guy rip somebody's fucking throat out once?
Yeah.
And they're trying to be like, you don't want me to lose control, man. Now this movie takes it
I don't want to freak out.
to a fucking excess that makes no sense, and we'll get into it in a minute. Let's get up to fucking speed here. He's a drifter, comes into town, gets hired to work at this roadhouse by and I'm just going to point these things out because it's fun. The original was an old white man. This is a young black woman. Just the concept, and I'm not saying it's wokeness. I'm just, it's in every fucking movie. If they do a remake, it's in every fucking movie. I'm going to point it out. If you don't like it, I apologize. Don't be so sensitive to it, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, no, it is.
But
I'm
it's
tired
there.
of I'm sorry.
It has to be a young black woman. It has to be. Could we get a young trans black woman? No, we'll settle for the woman.
She had great tits, though. I don't know if I can say that.
She was an attractive woman. How can you be a bouncer if you aren't old enough to buy a beer? So Jake Gyllenhaal rolls into fucking town. Yeah, I know. Rolls into town. He basically comes across these biker dudes who are connected to the higher drug trade in the area, which we find out later. And bitch slaps them all, and it's a pretty fun little fight. And that's basically, I think, can summarize the whole movie. It's a really dumb little fun movie, but it's not great.
I think if it was another movie other than Roadhouse, it would have been a good movie. Like it would have been something like, oh, this is fucking cool. I like this. Let's just have fun.
Yeah, if you named it something else, or if it was something else, I agree.
Well, Conor McGregor's really only in the final third of the movie. They introduce him in kind of a nonsensical way.
My wife hated his character.
He's butt naked and he burns down a tiki village and then walks away from it and steals the clothes. It was just kind of stupid.
He just wears a fucking overcoat for it, you know. Also,
one of the things I have to say about this movie is I do not understand the use of CGI in a lot of scenes. There's this scene with Conor McGregor where he gets kicked off the boat from Gyllenhaal and he climbs up that ladder and he goes onto the overpass. And everything from him getting up onto the overpass to stopping the car that's coming his way is all green screen. It's all fake, and it's noticeable. And I don't know why they did that at all. I just
that makes sense why when he gets up there and he does his step, he looks to see where he's stepping and then he walks out.
Yeah, because he's looking at a marker. He's not actually on a road.
Yeah,
he's got to know where he's at in relative to the green screen.
Also, the car hitting Gyllenhaal was, I don't think it was green screen properly when it hit him. It was a cool action scene.
I did like that scene. Yeah, I did like
the behind the scenes. Apparently, they filmed a lot of the fight scenes several times, like even in slow motion. Then they took like even photos of them real close connecting and put them together. So that's why some of the fight scenes look a little weird, is because they did all these techniques to try to make the fight scene look as real as possible. But due to the fact that you're forced to use like CG and shit while you're doing this, some of them come out a little wonky. I will say the fight scenes overall don't look bad at all. They're fast. They're pretty, they're pretty in your face sort of fight scenes.
You know, the last fight scene with Connor and Gyllenhaal in the bar, that one is the only one that looked kind of weird at certain points, and it was because they were using that whole thing where like when you're moving around and they freeze the background and they move you.
Yeah,
they kept doing that.
And they switched between that and like the first person view as well.
Yeah, that was stupid in my opinion. But the other one is when they went up at top and Gyllenhaal gets thrown over. When he goes over, his fucking leg looks like it's fucking just all wavy.
It was Rubber Hall.
It looked like he was like fucking Gyllenhaal.
Conor McGregor's performance isn't great. It's very outlandish and almost cartoonish. He really is kind of like somebody invited a drunk leprechaun to the movie.
Was he trying to do a voice, like an act? Was he?
I think he was trying to
recorded over it.
Yeah, I think a lot of his lines were dubbed, and that's why it's weird. Because I don't think live they could get with his accent and everything good, like as he's doing the fight scenes. I just don't think they were getting good enough recordings. So like when he's going through the crowd and he's like, he's saying his name. All of that seemed very much dubbed over, like it was an 80s movie from China that Jackie Chan was in.
Mm-hmm. Well, they made it weird because it was only his character. Like, I was like, what the fuck is up with the audio?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was just his accent was too much and he wasn't getting lines out clearly enough on scene, or they didn't get a clear enough recording, or maybe the whole time they were like, we're just going to fucking dub it anyways because of his accent.
Every piece of his dialogue, too, it looked like he was really trying to make sure that he was saying words. What I mean?
He was doing his best to not fuck up, basically.
Yeah.
The wrecking of and like that's the thing is the action in this movie is it's actually really pretty decent. I'm going to get to where I find the movie to be stupid. And the problem with this movie is it goes from Jake Gyllenhaal, it's you don't want me to lose control, man. And then as soon as he does, which is because they burned down this bookstore to which he had developed a friendship with the owners in the local town. So he loses it and goes directly from losing it to murdering people. And then not only murdering a man, but then keeping his body in a freezer in his boathouse. Yeah. So it goes from hey, I'm just kind of a bouncer. If I lose control, I may kill you, like in a fight, to like, no, I've lost control. I've killed a man by breaking his windpipe. Then he drowned. Then I froze his body. Then I set up somebody else for a killing with this guy. And it's like, it's a weird.
Here's my trophies, vials of blood.
Well, like it would have made more sense if like in the original, he goes to the bad guy's offices and fucking wrecks house. Like that would have made sense of where he shows up to the boat and just beats the shit out of everybody on the boat, like, which he does. But beyond that, it's just such a weird, like, he's a detective all of a sudden. He's a stone cold murderer, even though the only person he's ever killed haunts him to this day.
Yeah, that's why the murder didn't make any sense.
Yeah, the character doesn't make any sense. And he just goes completely beyond the law and completely unhinged. And
I am the law.
Right? Like it goes immediately from like I beat the shit out of a bunch of guys to I killed this guy in cold blood, stored his body in a freezer. By the end of the movie, I mean, and I will say it's a cool fight in the end, he literally stabs Conor McGregor fucking 15 times with pieces of wood. Like, it just goes from like relatively not super violent to a bloodbath. It's a weird progression that I didn't fully understand.
Did everybody watch the other credits after? Or...
I did go back and watch it. Conor McGregor apparently is not dead. I don't know. Yeah. What the fuck? I don't know. I thought his
fucking ass naked again, walking fucking.
I thought his trigger to walk away from the fight with Conor didn't make any sense either. Like I said, you're beating all these people prior. Now you're meeting a fighter who literally wants to kill you. He tells you he wants to kill you. Yeah. Like, and just because you saw a video, like this is the fight or flight response you need to just save yourself.
Well, but then that's the stupid thing of like, he's like, fuck all of this, I'm out. Yeah. And then he sees the bookstore and he's like, not only am I back in, but I'm gonna kill everybody. Like, it's not even like I'm gonna do Van damage. It's like, no, I'm gonna straight up murder people now. Like, I'm gonna murder this guy in hardcore cold blood. He's just like, what are you doing here, dude? And he's like, hey, by the way, dead. Like, it just doesn't make any fucking sense to me how they progress.
I'd understand the progression. I'd understand the switch, if you will. If when he got to the book house and he asked, where's the family? And they're like, oh, the daughter's in the hospital. The father died.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Now it makes sense.
Yeah, I'd agree. Yeah. If you had, but just burning down their little small business isn't, I'm sorry, that's not, like, come on. Like, killing, or, they beat the shit out of the little girl before they burned it down.
Yeah.
I'd even buy that. But this concept of, like, I was okay with them ruining the Roadhouse, hurting all of the people in there, including the people I befriended, but they burned down the fucking bookstore.
The glass books.
You know what I mean? Like, it's goofy, right? So, like, that's my biggest problem with this movie, really.
Oh, cute.
And then when he gives the money to the book family, I laughed so hard. I had to pause the movie because he gives the money to the family. Books, and that is, you can split that money and help the bar you just completely
help Roadhouse.
Violated.
Yeah, help the Roadhouse.
Who's gonna pay for those fucking repairs? Like, I don't think the insurance company has exceptions for a boat driven fucking through it, or a pickup truck, or a crazy Irishman.
It makes it even worse because both the woman who hired him to protect the Roadhouse told her her father's story.
Right.
So you got two heartfelt background stories, and you're like, nah, fuck you, fuck your bar. Let me give all the money to this little bookstore.
That's the thing, is by the end of the movie, it's like, hey, I know I came here to help, and your bar is destroyed. There's a dead guy with wood shards stabbed, or we think he's dead, stabbed all in him on the floor. Plus,
but
a couple
there is
other
a dead guy with his neck broken there.
Yeah, there's a couple. Yeah, that scene where Conor McGregor's just like, shut up, and breaks his neck. It's just fucking goofy. It's goofy on a level of like 1980s action villains where it's like, "You think I'm afraid to kill you?" And they shoot one of their own guys. Look what I did to my own men. That sort of stupid shit. Those are the problems I have with the movies. Oh, the overuse of CG was another one, and it was just in use of CG in areas that really didn't need it. It was my biggest issue. Other than that, I thought it was a dumb, fun movie. I thought.
What about the comic reliefs? Did you like them, Mo? He's like this really polite guy, but he'll beat your ass. Like,
I just no, I didn't. I thought
even like Mo.
The only comic relief I found was Conor McGregor. Jake Gyllenhaal handled his parts of like the little witty dialogue pretty well, I guess. The girlfriend that the girl that he starts banging / nurse / daughter of the corrupt cop somehow, like that whole relationship to me was just kind of dumb. Where he's like, "I got you covered," and it's like, "Wait, weren't you just
like a restaurant owner too?" Like,
dude. Well, the other thing is like by the 15 minutes before this, he's like, "I'm going to kill you now," and then 20 minutes later, it's like, "Get out of here! I got your back. You were never here.
You took care of my daughter. I got you."
Right? Like, what the fuck?
The one scene I laughed to, the second scene I laughed the hardest was when he's on the boat. He's like, "You didn't think they actually had my daughter," and the guy's like, "Actually, we have your daughter."
He's like, "What the fuck, motherfucker?" And it's like, what?
Ooh, double cross.
Yeah, and then that's the other thing is, how am I supposed to take any of these scenes seriously when Jake Gyllenhaal is literally going, a double cross? Like, there's no tension in that fucking scene. With that said, that doesn't mean it's not enjoyable. If this is a movie where you honestly got to shut your brain off and just kind of,
Like I said, if it wasn't named Roadhouse, I would have loved it even more because it was something fun.
I mean, they tried, they had throwbacks to like the band playing behind the chicken wire and like,
yeah.
But once again, you can't do the Roadhouse movie like you did it before because in this day and age of like progressive ideals being in movies, the strong male lead has to be a flawed piece of shit, right? Patrick Swayze, that whole movie is machismo. Down to the villain telling Patrick Swayze, "I used to fuck guys like you in prison." And you can't do that movie anymore. That's why it is a young black female owner. All of the employees are, fucking everything that, like, the first one was hillbillies. It was all fucking hillbillies. Let's be real. It was all white trash in those goddamn bars.
Key West is all hillbillies too. I'm sorry to say, but
I was gonna say, where are the fucking people that wrestle alligators? I didn't see any of them in this fucking movie. With that said, are you guys ready to do some reviews?
Yes.
Are you guys, the audience, ready to do some reviews? Because I think we are. Sean says, and this random accents from the Allo father and daughter. Yeah. Well, see, that's actually her father. That's actually his real accent. He's been in a lot of shit. He always talks like this. This is his voice. It sounds like he eats gravel every morning instead of oatmeal. That's just kind of how he's always talked down to. I think he was the bad guy in Desperado. He was the brother / drug leader. I'm pretty sure it's the same fucking guy.
Yeah.
With that said, let's get ready for some reviews. Just thought about it. Not only am I gonna keep making new videos for the Chicago Dog reviews and everything, I'm also gonna make them longer and longer to terrorize you guys. I just find that personally funny. All right, so I'll go first. I like this movie. I didn't love it. There's a lot of issues with it, but I think it is a solid. If you're looking for just kind of a dumb action flick to turn your brain off of, it's got some comedy. It's got some decent fight scenes. I think you're looking at a solid 6. I'm gonna go pretty basic on this one. I'll go 6 out of 10.
I'll go real quick. I'm gonna go 7. Like I said, I liked it. If it was a different name, if it was like it had nothing to do with Roadhouse, I really would have enjoyed it. I probably would have said like 8 or 9 just because of fun bullshit. Also, the father is in fucking Shogun. He's one of the fucking Portuguese.
Oh,
Oh, that's right. He's the higher powered one above the guys that are there, isn't he?
Yeah. So all in all, I get
in that
a
he
7.
talks like this as well. He does. It's just his voice, dude.
I want to see Jake Gyllenhaal do more shit that's more comedic action, though. I want to see that. Just
well, see, that is the thing is I mean, the guy's in great shape. Like, how is he not moved in on this? Like you don't need to be in every Marvel movie. Like, you were Mysterio, but like, how have you not kind of taken over that? Like, Chuck Norris was doing action movies in his fucking 40s and stuff, and Jake Gyllenhaal's about there. So, like, how have you not done more of this sort of stuff?
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's rumor that, or word, they've asked him, would you play Batman? And he said, yeah, it would be an honor. So, like, even things like that, but I would take let's get some more action movies out there. Like, Joe Kinnaman is another one that's kind of cornered that market a bit. Let's see some Gyllenhaal action flicks. Even if it's remakes, right? Like, there's movies he could fit into with remakes, too. Let's get a remake of Kurt Russell's Breakdown starring Wyatt Russell. Giovanni, what's yours? We got 7 and 6.
7 and 6. I'm gonna go solid 6 too. I kind of agree with Alex. If the name was different, I'd give it a higher score. It's not a bad flick though. Turn your brain off, just watch it. I think the problem here is I like the first Roadhouse. I saw the first Roadhouse, and I think that's the problem.
Yeah.
Like I kind of went in like.
So but here's the thing: what could they brand this movie as if not Roadhouse? Right? Like, it's got a lot of the Roadhouse in it to steal its identity. So if they made this movie without calling it Roadhouse, you've just stolen Roadhouse's story, and you'd hate it for that too. If they fixed the bookstore scene,
you're right.
Arc would have been a solid 7, 6.1 without it. Yeah, his whole justification for like going from I beat the shit out of people to and it's like at this point they haven't even tried to kill him really. But it goes from like not the bookstore to hey, I just murdered this guy in cold blood and I'm doing legitimate psychopathic Dexter shit.
Yeah, the way he did it in this movie without changing anything, like dude, you should not be on the road. You should not be free in the world. You should be behind bars somewhere.
Yeah, like you are just a straight up murderer. Like it wasn't self-defense. The dude was like, what the fuck are you doing here? And he's like, this! And it's like, killing you is what I'm doing here. Yeah.
And you know what makes it even weirder, even more on the Dexter shit? He explained how the guy's dying to him.
It was very Dexter where he's just like, I just broke this bone in your body and that's cutting in your trachea. And then like remember Dexter used to do that? Like, I'm cutting here and eventually you're going to bleed to death. Just like what the fuck? How did we switch? Like, he really should be incarcerated.
The dark passenger's gonna come and get you now,
right? Like that's the whole thing. Like if he can go from like mild mannered Jake Gyllenhaal to murdering a family, like he really should be in prison. Probably he doesn't seem like a safe person. Yeah. So that's the sequel. He's just in prison, and then Conor McGregor shows up, and then they're both in prison together, and he's like. That's when he's like, I've been fucking guys like you in here. Or something. I don't know. I was a little disappointed that line wasn't in the movie. I'm not going to lie.
With the actions of what happened with Conor McGregor snapping the neck and then Conor McGregor still alive at the end, it does set up for a sequel because the guy's going to get out of prison eventually. Yeah. Or he's going to break out. And then is Conor McGregor going to be the fucking main story?
See, that's why if they were going to really actually set it up with, because he really was kind of like the Joker in Batman Dark Knight in this one, where he's only in like the last of the movie. What they should have done is covered his tattoos up for this one. So if the storyline is he gets out of prison, then he's got all these new tattoos and he fully took on prison. Cool. You know what I mean? Like they should, if the idea is a sequel, they maybe should have, not even all of them, but like they should have thought ahead. Like the big one on his stomach and chest could have been covered up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So yeah, they should. If the idea is Conor McGregor's the main villain guy in the sequel, they should have thought ahead on that one and done something to make it make more sense. But that's it, guys. We'll be back next week with more Shogun and another movie or two. I think we'll be back. There's nothing going on. We're getting closer. We're less than a month. We got 3 weeks until the Fallout episode. So if you guys do want to join, please don't hesitate. Hit us up in the Discord. Let us know. And we'll get you in on as a panelist. We'll be here next week, and as of the Nerditude streams, we'll be there Monday for you guys. So everybody, thank you for watching. I truly appreciate it. Sean, KG, everybody out there that is in the rafters that I can't see. I appreciate everybody. I want to see McGregor in a Deadpool movie. I think McGregor would be better paired up with a Scott Adkins.
Mm-hmm.
I think if you took a Scott Adkins and you put McGregor as a villain, I think those fight scenes you'd get out of something like that would be quite amazing. Even on like a B-level movie sort of spectrum. Because that's really, I think, more where Conor McGregor is in his Hollywood career. I think a movie that isn't AAA, but there's a lot of non-AAA movies out there that have amazing fight scenes, amazing choreography. So I think if you need to pair him like with somebody from that era, maybe since McGregor got paid $5 million for this role, maybe Scott Adkins' pay would get bumped up. You know what I mean? There would be some sort of so. We'll see. I think but honestly, after this performance, I really think that's more where his level is.
Did you see that Van Damme's got a new one coming out May 21st? Darkness of Man?
I actually watched the trailer for it. It doesn't look terrible. It's a little John Wicky, but that's okay. Mm-hmm. I mean, most action movies nowadays are, for better or worse. But everybody, take care. We love you. Have a great fucking weekend, and we'll see you next week. Bye, everybody.
Happy Zombie Jesus Day.
Bye.